What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Super Princess Peach. In the last episode, I was talking about Star Fox and everything else in between with that. I'll probably briefly talk about that topic in this episode. But as for right now, I think there's going to be more. I mean, honestly, there's probably going to be more to talk about in this episode, if anything, if we're going to be honest here. But that's just the gist of it. We're going to complete 4-4 through 4-8, as I said, and I'm promising that, obviously, because I'm sticking my end of the bargain. Some interesting things in those courses that I would like to point out before then, so I'll at least get the news part out of the way right now. So, anyways, let's get on to the nitty gritty of this thing. Okay, right now, Nintendo has decided to raise the prices of their console, as we have as I've recently stated in one of my previous episodes, which I find it to be horrendously stupid, but on their part, but whatever. On the top of that, what is it? Honestly, it's some sort of a. What I wanted to say earlier, I think I mentioned something about like generations, about like handing the torch off and whatnot. I don't think I guess maybe I should reframe my opinion, maybe, possibly. Like, if you have a company, like, obviously you're not going to you're obviously not going to kill it, right? Unless there's an absolute reason to, which I don't see a complete reason to kill the company off, right? I just see that maybe we just hand it off to somebody else better, possibly. I would like to see something good for Nintendo to happen, that maybe sometime in the future or something, where I'm gonna be quite frankly honest, like maybe like at some point, like the new owner of Nintendo, other than Shigeru Miyamoto, and you know, just like, yeah, I know he's the prime owner of Nintendo, but bro's no longer in his prime, so I don't know. Gotta say something there with that one, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I think I would like to see Nintendo not be so possessive with their I guess not so possessive with their content, and just be able to allow people to do ROM hacks and, you know, just certain things like that. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about it, like, if anybody from Nintendo is watching this or anything like that, like, I think it will benefit the company in a lot of ways. Because think about it, if I played a mod of a game that's like, oh, that's pretty cool. What was the original output? Oh, this is the original, like, you know, ROM. Okay, let me go buy the actual game. So it'll make sense to buy the original game by myself, but that's just me speaking, like, logically, for instance, on that part. But if that will ever happen, that would be great. But I feel like if it was under new management or under new ownership, where they will allow fans to do things like this, where they're not so, like, strict upon it, I think things could, like, turn for the better in a way. In my opinion, at least. But that's just my opinion, at least. But moving along with, like, the other things in instances of this, like with how Nintendo is just handling everything and the whole entire situation and whatnot, I think if they this kind of brings up to the topic of, like, I handled with the Star Fox situation, so I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I think if Nintendo is willing to, like, cater in the younger generation to, like, be able to, like, adapt to, like, how things were run before, but also kind of allow for new changes to happen. And I mean, like, good changes, like, hey, allowing people to do, you know, whatever said want with content, as long as it's not like, oh, we're gonna profit off of the company by any means. It's not to profit off the company, right? This is so, like, hey, we are making sure that, you know, obviously Nintendo owns everything in that part, but which will make sense. But I don't want to, like, you know, just make it seem like, oh, Nintendo's a huge bad guy for wanting to be super possessive. I get why they're possessive in a way. But at the same time, I just want to at least clarify, like, the reason why I don't condone it is because, like, it's just hurting them more than it's hurting everybody else. Even though it is hurting a lot of us, it's hurting the company a lot more, in my opinion, at least. So that's just my opinion on it. But here's the thing why I think it would be a good idea for Nintendo to just hit the hay, or just kind of like start like getting in some young blood to like actually start looking after the company, instead of just having somebody who's in a similar age range where, oh yeah, you were alive when I started the company, right? You were like 10 years younger than me. Yeah, you can own the company. No. Come on, give it to somebody that's like 20 years younger or something. Like they got young blood. They got some bright ideas. I'm sure if you minister them to your ways, or just kind of like minister them to like how you think about the company and how you want to run things and how you want them to run things in a way, that they can seek themselves to be somewhat of a good candidate for you, like somewhat of a great candidate, if anything. But the reason why I'm saying all this is because in recent news, from what I've heard, well, let's just open this up. So Star Fox is the #1 selling game right now for you. Wait, just give it a drum roll. Here we go. Sorry for the sound effect. Yeah, I know. I know. I haven't done this in a while, but it's, just drum roll, please. Yep. Actually, the drum was already going, so I'm gonna just reveal it right now. And it's for the Switch 2. Who would have guessed that it was the #1 seller for the Switch 2? Gee, guys, I wonder why. Well, it's because Mario Kart World's not doing so well, let's be honest. And all the other games following up in that is not doing so as pleasant as Mario Kart World or anything else. Like I said, if we looked at the statistics at like how the best-selling Mario games are out there, in terms of like, I don't know if I saved it in a photo, to be honest with you, but if I did, that would be great, because then I could just kind of like post one of my photos that I took a picture of said thing, but I guess I didn't. Maybe I did. But it is something that it's highly and very concerning in some sort of way, like that. The fact that these games are just kind of like, alright, like this is the #1 seller, which it is. It used to be the #1 seller. Mario Kart World used to be the #1 seller for Switch 2, but the fact that it got beat by a remake, that's gotta be highly disgusting. It's disgusting to think that a remake beats an original new game that came exclusively to the Switch 2. Star Fox 64, you can literally play on the N64 right now if you have the N64 on you, or on your Wii U, or any other device that has access to Star Fox 64. You literally could play the game right now if you wanted to, just for nostalgia's sakes. There's a 3DS version of the game, for crying out loud. I mean, that's gotta be embarrassing to have a remake outsell your bestseller. I mean, hello, are we not opening our eyes here, or are we just, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know what you guys think about this valid point, and if you Nintendo guys want to get mad at me for it, whatever. But and on top of that, I just had I realized I had to deal with something stupid today. Because I listen and watch the streamer from time to time. And, and this guy made a valid... I'm not going to say about what topic it is, because then people are going to catch on right away. But if you know, you know. If you don't, then you don't know. Who cares? So, anyways, somebody made a very valid point about a certain situation. And then immediately, out of context and out of just, like, pure, like, okay, like, without even, like, taking a second to think about what this person said, they decided to take offense to his statement and completely, like, deranged themselves to kind of just like, no, this guy's an absolute jerk and absolute this, blah, blah, blah. And it ticks me off so much that, like, whenever somebody makes somewhat of a valid point, or somewhat of a point that a lot of people were thinking, they just say it out loud, they get mad. And it's like, okay, and you have every right to get mad, but like, you don't have to like start calling this person an idiot or freaking whatever else, you know, just because you don't like the opinion. Like, if you don't like the opinion, whatever, tough nuggies, dude. Maybe he's right. Maybe this person's right about the certain situation at hand, and you don't want to admit it. It's like if a lot of people choose not to hang out with you, and you're like, well, what's up? Like, you know what? They're the problem. Then someone points out to you, like like a really good friend, like, nah, dude, you're the problem. And they're like, excuse me, what? I'm the problem? Nah, you're not my friend anymore. Like, hold on. Don't get it twisted, dude. Think about it. If a lot of people in the past have an issue with you, and like, they're not having an issue with anybody else, maybe you are the problem. And maybe there's a way to fix that, possibly. That's just my general, you know, my 2 cents right there. Take your 2 cents with that one. But it is what it is on how you can take that. But I don't know, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to be like disrespectful by any means on that. But the thing is like, the fact that a remake is doing better than an original game for its time is really like, it is absolutely ridiculous to see, and it's actually quite pathetic to see, in my opinion. Speaking of pathetic, according to a tweet, Nintendo stock, after they announced that they were going to honestly just raise the price to $500, and then on top of that, they apologize. Yeah, they apologized, all right. Yeah, sorry, you just have to raise the price. It's just business. It's just business. That's all we have to do. And it's like, okay, like, sure, you apologize, but it doesn't really mean anything, because you're still doing the very thing that we don't want you to do. Like, make sense of the situation here. So, anyways, the Nintendo stock dropped 12% after the Switch 2 price increased to $499 in the US from the expected $449.99. The change starts in September 2026. We haven't got to September yet. And according to this video, when it's released, it's 2026, for those of you watching it in the future. It has not yet passed September 2026. So for those of you in the future, hi. So anyways, the changes starts in September 2026 for the Western markets due to higher memory and component costs, plus tariffs and exchange rates. The company also cuts its sales forecast to 16.5 million units next year, down from nearly 20 million. 4.5 million units short next year, as expected. You heard that right. In 2027, it's going to be 16.5 million units that they expected to sell, other than the 20 million. If anything, I feel like it's going to be... I think it's going to be a little bit further, probably cutting in half. Unfortunately, as much as I don't want to say it, it's probably going to be the fact. It's probably going to be the thing that's going to happen here. I really hate to be the one to break the bad news, but I'm willing to bet that it's... that the sales is gonna be like 10 million. I will give it a little faith, maybe a little bit more, like 12 million, but I really doubt it'd be 16.5 million. I mean, considering how well it did in the last 2 years, I don't see it doing well next year. Considering the amount of games there and content that's out there, considering that a lot of the games that you can literally just play on the Switch 2 or on the Switch, on the Switch 2 are Switch 1 games. A lot of the games that you can play on the Switch 2 are Switch 1s. And honestly, I wouldn't take this advice, but if you don't have a Switch 1 already, then yeah, you might as well just buy the Switch 2. And the unfortunate part is, like, you know, a lot of people will be right about that one. So it's just like, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of depressing to think. But yeah, I don't know. So, but President Shintaro Furukawa, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name there. I'm sorry. Said the Switch 2 is selling faster than the original console. I highly doubt it, but who knows? Maybe who knows? Maybe he's right. But I mean, just look at the statistics and how the stats are doing in terms of the sales. I mean, the sales speak for itself. It's not really my opinion that stays like as a factual. My opinion is never gonna be like factual unless it's like backed up by facts. That's it. It has to be backed up by facts. So if it's not backed up by facts, then maybe my opinion's wrong. Who knows? I'm willing to admit that. I'm not saying I'm not willing to admit that. That's just how it is. On another post, Japanese retailers are heavily restricting purchases of Nintendo Switch 2 ahead of an upcoming price increase. Since pretty much this change pretty much happened now. By the way, you can do that with Wiggler if you time it right. Anyways, moving forward. Nintendo is raising the price of the standard model in Japan from $49,980 not dollars, sorry, yen to 59,980 yen. I think that's what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I'd rather be right than just think that I'm right. If I'm being honest here. So that's just you know, that's just how I feel about it. You know, the announcement has triggered a last-minute buying frenzy, causing rapid sellouts at major chains such as Yodobashi Camera and Beak Camera. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry. Physical stocks has already disappeared from many locations. Online availability is extremely limited, and Beak Camera has begun imposing purchase limits. Other large retailers are expected to follow with some similar loyalty-based policies, such as requiring membership tiers or history of past spending. The restrictions want to support regular customers and stop scalpers. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a lot of scalpers out there because they're trying to make some money. I probably, you know what, for your topic Tuesday for today, I think it's probably a good idea to talk about scalping, because a lot of people wanted to scalp the Valve's controller, which, to be highly frankly honest, I mean, I don't know if, did Valve make a response to that? I'm gonna actually look that up on my phone. What is Valve's response to the scalpers online, actually? I'm gonna look that up live right now as I defeat Wiggler. Yep, there goes Wiggler. And now we have new stages now. So what is Valve's response to online scalpers? So, they have a plan, I guess. Yeah, okay, I guess. Okay, so Valve has a plan to stop scalpers from buying the Steam machine. Oh. The shortage for the controller. My bad. That's what I meant to say. Valve has responded to the backlash after the Steam controller has sold out in under 30 minutes. According to the PC's publisher, they didn't expect the Steam machine Hero to sell out so quickly. So Valve gives update on Steam controller restock. So after months of hype and anticipation, the Steam controller sold out in just 30 minutes. Many players trying to purchase their new item, Valve hardware, were instantly met with error messages and checkout glitches. Despite the Steam controller price being set at $99, demand was so high for the Hero that it managed to crash Steam's servers for hours. However, Valve has not addressed the Steam controller shortage in posts on X, Twitter, sorry, and explained that they were taken by surprise. Oh yeah, so I started this.
Working on getting more in stock. Update on expected timeline soon. It's unclear when stock could happen. Following expected launch. Those lucky enough to snag a Steam controller might have to wait a little bit longer to receive them. Orders have begun to appear online from various users that show that their orders have been pushed back 6 to 10 days until shipping. Well, that's reasonable. It's not a bad thing, honestly. Yes, okay, so yeah, for double the price, I'm taking literally minutes after the launch ended, there were hundreds of listings posted by resellers. Surprisingly, many of the Steam controllers have been scalps have sold for as high as $230, $250. Yep, I said that a few days ago. Probably last week, I think I mentioned that. Addressing the shows the company is working. So they didn't really say anything. Well, tough noogies, guys. Anyways, I guess they have a plan to stop scalpers for when the Steam machine comes out. So Valve suddenly remembering that scalpers exist now has a yes, they exist, Valve. Anybody in the future that decides to sell anything, remember that there's going to be scalpers out there. And if there's scalpers out there trying to sell your product, you're doing a good job. But yeah, I think it's a good precaution. So yeah, I'm not gonna hate on, or I'm not gonna really make fun of you too much, Valve, because I kind of like you. So there's that. So now, Valve suddenly remembering that scalpers exist, now has a plan to help you get a Steam machine since you likely missed out on the Steam controller. Even if Valve's PC console hybrid costs a ton, it will likely be cheaper to get it directly than from exorbitant eBay listing. Wearers first spotted Steam tracking code on Steam's website, hitting that they may be 4 separate versions of Steam machines. These likely refer to the 2 storage configurations listed on Steam, 512 gigabytes and 2 terabytes SSD options. With 4 options in the total, buyers may be able to purchase a Steam machine with or without a Steam controller. The code scalpers also found mention of the 2 Steam Frame VR's headset models that likely refer to the 256 GB and 1 terabyte storage options. Both systems support expanded storage through micro SD cards, so there are options if you suddenly realize a quarter or half terabyte isn't nearly enough for modern gaming. The original Reddit thread also noted that the code likely relates to reservation system for the controller. This will likely be skinned to the Steam controller's recent instituted reservation system. You'll need an active Steam account to get in line to buy Valve's new hardware. Plus, you can't just make a dummy account. You need to have purchased something on Steam before April 27. Man! I was really hoping to buy one. But I guess I won't be able to since I wasn't planning on scalping, but I actually was going to plan on buying a Steam machine, but who knows. Maybe I'll have to wait a couple years. Who knows. Currently, you need to set yourself up for an order and respond to an email within 72 hours to secure a Steam controller. There's a limit of only 1 per customer, and you already ordered a controller. You can't simply order another later. Wow, based. Valve will likely institute similar strict procedures for the Steam machine. The scalpers sit on the fringes like needle-eyed predators. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but I don't care. I'm not referring to pedophiles. Freaking weirdos. They wait for any new hyped hardware to stumble by before snatching up all stock to resell for 200% more than its original cost. When Valve launched its buy page for the Steam controller on its marketplace, the site suffered mass amounts of traffic that kept many from snagging a unit. Within less than an hour, buyers reported seeing the controller was out of stock. Resellers immediately offer verified pre-order controllers for $200, $300 or more. If you're lucky enough to purchase a Steam controller for yourself, know that you'll be able to connect up to 4 controllers to one console or one of them, including 2.4 GH wire pucks that double as a charging station. Valve has yet to set the price or launch date for the Steam Machine. At least it doesn't seem much longer before the Half-Life maker offers the full details of its latest hardware. Considering the ongoing memory shortage and Valve's comments that it will cost the same as an equivalent PC, expect you'll need to stretch your wallet pretty wide to afford it. End post. This was, well, I'll give the link. I'll give the link at some point, like tomorrow or something like that, when I have the time in the comments, since I can't really post it in the description. But that's what it is.
But yeah, I think that's gonna cover it for all of it for today on what I wanted to say. In terms of just news that I'm stating out, not really opinions. I think this is your just topic Tuesday today, so I don't know. Yeah, that's all I can really say. Next episode will cover 4-9 through 5-4, and we'll go from there. Pretty much, right? I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's completely fair. So, with that being said, don't forget to shine bright and stay bright.